Is it hard being a man?
No.
There's definitely a lot of challenges.
At times, yeah.
Not really. God created me this way, and I'm happy being a man.
How does it feel to be a man in 2023?
Oh, wow. I don't know, man.
Boring.
Well, it feels great, you know?
It's different. It's not like it used to be.
What do you think is the hardest thing about being a guy?
Being strong, independent.
As a guy, have you ever had to change your behavior around other people? What do you think was the best that you've had to adopt your behavior? Is it hard being a man?
The gender war has become a global phenomenon the past year on the internets. Through the controversial rise of Andrew Tate, feels like it's impossible to have a conversation about men's struggles without bringing women down.
Many men seriously struggle to talk to women nowadays.
So in an effort to balance out the narrative, I hit the streets and asked men about their struggles just like I did for women.
What do you think the hardest thing about being a man is?
Trying to live up to that expectation.
I think responsibilities.
People tend to judge you.
Living up to what you feel like your potential should be.
Probably the work life.
What would you say some misconceptions are about being a man?
That is a great question.
Everyone thinks men should be tough and not cry or not.
That they can do everything by themselves.
So you have to be very masculine.
Or not express themselves.
That they have to be this wall of strength and providence.
How does it feel to be a man in 2023?
In society, guys we don't get compliments or we don't get much attention.
It feels good.
I feel like I'm actually fortunate and blessed. I have a lot going for me.
What's the best thing about being a man?
Just the safety aspect, I think.
The bromance, dude. The bromance.
The best part about being a man is recognizing what I, as a man, can do for the people around me.
Best thing about being a guy, bro. The best thing about being a guy is just like operating and walking around like you're like totally safe all the time.
Has there ever been a time when you've had to change your behavior as a man around other people?
Sometimes, but I've learned, I used to do that in the past, but I've learned that if you're gonna change your behavior around people, it's not necessarily the people that you should be around.
What are ways that you've had to adopt your behavior towards women?
Oh, boys are gonna hate me for this.
Ooh, usually I just tone my sense of humor down.
I feel like I have to always put a filter to make sure when they're around your guys, it's very easy to just be very unfiltered, very brutally. Cause when guys our love language is roasting the shit out of each other.
We're nice people, and that just because one person treats you bad doesn't mean everyone else is gonna treat you bad.
In your opinion, what's the hardest thing about being a guy?
See, the hardest thing about being a guy is probably confidence to a certain degree. You know, in everything that you do, not just girls or everything, home. You know, talking to people, having to be the person that everybody expects you to be.
Dude, bro, no one ever takes your problems and if you say there's some problem that you have, everyone's gonna be fucking get over it or deal with it. There's no sympathy whatsoever for it.
I think men have more. I think men have more. But getting bitches.
Is chivalry dead?
No, there's just less and less people out there because of hookup culture, and the people that do believe chivalry is still alive are just the people that don't get treated right. If you're gonna be dead honest.
No, of course not. I think, and honestly, maybe it goes along the line of one of the best things about being a guy, but it's genuinely I think it's very fun and cool to operate in a respectful way, but in a very kind way towards females.
The best thing.
Bro, you want this to be a clip?
The best thing. Fuck yeah, dude. Oh, man. You know how fun it is to go to the gym or just in the hallways and just dap your homies up and be yo, what's good? And you don't even know their name. Honest to God. It's the best fucking thing.
Is it hard being a man?
I'd say there's definitely a lot of challenges. I've gone through a lot. You know, growing up, I was always told that it doesn't matter what I go through. I just gotta deal with it. I mean, at a certain point, that just sort of starts to help, because I figured out how to just ignore everything and just get through it.
No barriers that I've had to face for just being a man. On the other hand, I'm gay, so that's where my diversity comes in. I'm also someone who's mixed kind of with a lot. I'm Native, Mexican, and white, so but I pass more as white in public. So when people see me, they see just a white man. I don't ever have to worry about any kind of stuff coming my way unless people clock me for looking gay, I guess. But yeah, I don't, and I guess a lot of people would bring up things like the fact that suicide rates for men are really high, but it's all perpetuated by a system that men put in place. we're like that because we've forced ourselves into this mentality of like, we can't cry, we can't show emotion, right? And that's what causes a lot of men to like move forward in that process. And
what do you think some misconceptions are about being a man nowadays?
I guess to tell the story of my father when I was growing up, as I got out of high school, I was getting ready to go into the military. And when I was younger, I used to work with my dad different places. We would help out at churches, help out different elder people's homes and stuff, and help them make additions to their houses. I mean, we even dug a whole foundation one time and built a house from the frame up and stuff like that. And so my dad taught me how to work with my hands and stuff like that, how to work with my mind and how to do things. And when I was getting ready to go into the military, I was waiting with my mom and dad, waiting for the bus to show up. And I sat there with my dad by myself. My dad looked at me, looked out to where the buses are coming in. Then he told me finally, he said, just because you're getting on that bus, don't think that's going to make you a man. And as an 18-year-old kid getting ready to go into the military, I was like, whoa, where's this coming from, you know? So then he explained to me, he goes, the way to be a man, you know, I've taught you all your life as you were growing up how to work with your hands, how to work with your mind. You even have enough skills to be able to build a house if you wanted to. But he said, that's not the definition of being a man. He said, as you're growing up, you're gonna have to learn some things from your mom. You're gonna have to learn some things from your sisters, from your aunts, your grandmothers. One of these days, your wife, and perhaps one of these days, a daughter. And they're gonna teach you, because I can teach you how to work with your hands, how to work with your mind, and how to build a house. But they're the ones that are gonna teach you how to use this to be able to make it a home. And that's when I realized, okay, I can't do this on my own, you know. Being a man, yeah, I can do the physical part, I can do the mental part and things like that, but in order to be able to use my heart, that's where I need my wife, that's where I need my kids, and all the women that I know in my life, my grandmothers, those that have taught me before, on how to be able to really be a man. Because I cannot be a man until they can look at me and say, yeah, this is somebody we can depend on, this is somebody that we know will be able to help us make a life and complete a life.
I'm pretty young, actually. I'm still in high school, and it's the amount of shit I've gone through, it's insane. But I don't talk to anybody about it because I'm not supposed to. So.
Why do you feel like you're not supposed to talk to anyone about it?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just the way I was raised. But I feel like it's true for a lot of men out there, and I don't know about you personally, but I certainly can say for myself that growing up I was always told that it doesn't matter what I go through, it only matters how I deal with it. And it only matters if I just keep doing it, just keep going through whatever I'm going through, just keep working past it, and, you know, like filling the void with work or chores or, you know, going to the gym or doing all that stuff. And at a certain point it does help, but there are certain things that can't be fixed by just lifting weights.
Oh, what's one thing that you wish women understood about guys?
Yeah, we're so simple. God, like, honestly, if you're with like a genuinely good guy, I'm not talking like those like asshole like manipulative dudes. I'm talking like, generally speaking, like most guys, like we're very easy to please and just talk to. Cause I mean, him and I, we've only talked for a total of maybe 10 minutes, and we're like best buds now.
No, let it be
So it's so easy, especially if you're very honest with your intentions and just honest with your feelings and everything. I think that goes for both ways, but especially that, like if you're honest with your feelings and honest with what you want and just genuine, then that's what's gonna get you the easiest way.
What do you think some disadvantages of being a guy are? Nowadays.
Disadvantages nowadays. We always have to make the first move. That's the number one thing. We always got to make the first move because guys always have to be the gentleman and pay for the first date and all those things. Like a lot of the things are like stay traditional until it benefits women, I guess you could say. Like
it's like a double standard.
Like I feel like that's the main thing. Like everything is still traditional. Man gotta pay for this. Man gotta open the doors. Man gotta be protective. Man gotta be tall. I know that feeling. It's like the men have to be very dominant. And you know, there's nothing wrong with like, you know, people wanting that. And preferences are totally cool. But I feel like when you start being, how do you say it, like
hypocritical?
Discriminatory towards people. Yeah, that's when it gets bad. And hypocritical.
Fair. Would you say the hardest thing about being a man?
The pressure that society puts on me. I mean, that's me personally. The pressure that I've been put on, you know, that's been put on me and sure many other men as growing up, it's been very hard to deal with. But at a certain point, you know, like going back, like society would say, just buck up, deal with it. You just got to keep going through it no matter what.
Would you say the best part about being a man is?
Well, I mean, we definitely do have a lot of privilege in society that, other people don't have. That's fun. So, not being discriminated against. I think everybody should have the same privilege and opportunity as a straight white man has in society, and I think that that's definitely something that we should strive for. So I think the privilege is something that's, I just have to say it. It's great to have because, I don't have to deal with all this shit that other people do, but at the same time, I do have other expectations that are very burdensome. Some would say they're burdensome.
What are some misconceptions that people have about men?
I think a lot of them come down to how men process emotions, or process things like pain or just things like that in general. I think a lot of people just see a lot of men as just robotic, uncaring, not feeling anything because, certain people have just put that onto us in the first place, so we were, taught to do that in our lives, and so we just did it, and then we became like that. But in reality, I know I feel a whole lot. I feel a lot more than just, anger or, what you can see on my face, which, can't see anything right now, but, that's intentional. So a lot of people definitely misconceive that men are emotionless when that's just the furthest thing. It's just we know how to hide it better. I think that's the difference. We just know how to hide our emotions because, growing up, being raised, we're taught that nobody cares what we feel or nobody cares how we think. All that matters is how we act and what we do in our life, which at a certain extent is kind of true. I haven't experienced many people who actually just care, who care at all. And for the most part, I've only been taught to just do what I have to do. Keep doing it. Doesn't matter how you feel about it. Doesn't matter if you feel good or bad about it. Just keep doing it because you have to do it, and you're a man, so you ought to do what a man has to do. I think that's a very big misconception in society. I think that that should definitely be fixed.
So you said something about how there are certain people that there are certain people that has put pressure on men to act a certain way, right? A lot of people say that the patriarchy, that's what they call it, the patriarchy has caused women to act a certain way, have certain disadvantages and stuff. And then when men say that we experience things as well that are negative, which is from arguably the patriarchy, then people argue that because we're men and because it was created by men, apparently, that we don't have a right to complain, even though that we still have disadvantages or still have hardships. Would you say that's a valid statement that it was created by men, so we shouldn't feel any disadvantages?
Absolutely not, and I think that's only contributing to the harmful stereotype that men are uncaring or unfeeling, because by telling men, hey, you benefit so much in society, you shouldn't complain about what you have. You shouldn't complain about anything that's going wrong in your life, because look at all these people who have it worse. That's just wrong. That's I hate to be, vulgar about this, or I hate to make light of a serious situation, but that's like telling a victim, hey, you shouldn't feel bad, you were asking for it, but even though you were asking for it, look at this guy, he got raped and murdered. You should feel grateful that you weren't killed. I hate to say that, because, they're two very different things, but they are comparable in the sense that
both are bad situations, subjectively.
Yes, and we take these situations and we compare them to worse situations, which doesn't make any sense at all. You obviously would still want to help give that victim, therapy and stuff like that, medication or anything to help make them feel better. So why wouldn't you do the same for somebody who is, a man who just happens to be mentally ill because of the way he was raised or because of society's impact on him? Why would you just, instead of helping him, why would you tell him, you shouldn't care, you shouldn't feel that certain way because there are people who have it worse? It's very reductive and it's very harmful.
If these interviews taught me anything, it's that these conversations are necessary to have for both sides. Instead of silencing men because we created the patriarchy, so therefore our problems are our own fault, maybe we should have these conversations instead to try to better enable us to help each other. It's not a competition, and we don't have to slaughter the other side just to talk about different types of issues. So let me know if you have any video topic ideas and put them in the comments down below regarding how we can showcase how we're a lot more similar than we are different.
Make sure you hit the subscribe button right now!